Well, hello everybody, welcome to another Dusty Circuit video, and this is going to be kind of just a bit of a shorter episode than the last, but it's kind of a continuation of kind of my series I did of all my different builds on Autcraft, and I'm not quite done covering them all. I still have a couple more to cover, but probably what the plan looks like it's going to be is I'll do this video, and then the very last video I make, I'll just do a tour of all my set homes. Like, just kind of hopefully to kind of discover a lot of kind of my old projects that either I never finished, or if there's any builds I found interesting on the server, we'll be able to check those out as well. And this is kind of a bit out of order. Like we're actually going to go a little bit farther back in time here from when from my previous video. And this particular project, or it is a farm, by the way, and I don't entirely remember when I built it, though I think it would have been after, maybe a bit after that iron farm that failed, and well, because it was had too many villagers in it, and the admins forced me to take it down. And I think it would have been probably in between that iron farm and that wither farm. And it is just a basic hostile mob trap, but it's like completely automated. So I think I remember actually showing this in a previous one of my videos, actually, but I feel like a kind of a reshoot of this is probably good, because since then my audio quality has improved, and yeah. So kind of the reason why I built this was, at the time, I really wanted a way to be able to farm gunpowder, well, mostly gunpowder, so that I could craft fireworks. And I think this would have been a bit before 1.11, or I think this might have been just after, but I mostly wanted the fireworks to be able to host firework shows of my own on the server, mostly for that purpose. Because by that point I would have gotten diamond, so by then I would have been able to just get creative flight. And while elytra flight is faster, the creative flight at least allows me to explore, and I could even augment it with an elytra if I really wanted to. I can just fly up really high in creative, and then just get on the elytra and just like glide down really fast. And so, and the reason why I wanted to host fireworks shows is because like of course AF had done them, or we started doing them, and kind of the reason why he did those is because it's kind of the appeal of it is that at some kids on Autcraft can't really attend fireworks and look at firework displays in real life because, of course, because of the fireworks are really loud and of course probably even the flashes or the light from the fireworks might give some people epilepsy, I guess. But and of course I can't blame them for that because it's like when I was young, I was like really sensitive to loud noises, like to the point where it's like if there's any loud noise, it's just I feel like I have to cover up my ears or else it's just gonna be painfully loud. And of course it's gotten better over time for me. Like in fact, even now I literally can listen to music at really loud volumes, probably louder than you should to preserve your hearing, but we don't really have to go into that right now. But so anyway, at first, when I first started the kind of farming gunpowder for my fireworks, I would have originally just kind of used the community mob farm. And in fact, I could even teleport right there if I want. So it's basically what I would do is I go into, of course, creepers are in here, so I would just go here and hopefully soon enough creepers will appear, and then I would kill the creepers for gunpowder. Appears there's either server lag right now or my connection isn't that great. And just literally I would get gunpowder right here, while I'd be AFK. But kind of also, besides the farm being a little bit slow for my taste, I've also had, of course, this being a public farm, it's like I'd be doing my own thing, killing the creepers, just minding my own business, and then someone else walks in to use the farm while I'm using the farm, and it's like rather than just use one or two of the stalls, they would just kill creepers at all of the stalls, like with little regard. Like if they see someone's AFK here, well, they're probably, it's like they don't, it's like the thought doesn't come to their minds that if a player is just kind of standing here sort of AFK, then they're probably AFK here for a reason. And like if I were coming up to this farm, I'd see someone else would be using the farm. I'd probably just stay at this side while they AFK at this side. And of course, I don't quite really know like how this farm is constructed, like if it's like one spawner for each of these drops or if it's all shared from one spawner, but this would have been better if, like, say if I was using the farm, if someone else is using it, they could just stick to like one stall while I stick to another stall. And Anyway, rants aside, I don't remember if I would have built a spawner-based gunpowder farm before this or after this, but no. So what actually happened was, for a little while, I kind of converted the music disc farm that I talked about in a previous video of this series. I just kind of took the creeper spawner and I just fed it directly into a killing area, and then basically then I'd have my own personal creeper farm to get gunpowder, and that did work for the most part, but it still was a little bit slow. I think I was still a bit slower than I would have wanted it to be. So, and I guess then the thought came to me, well, why not build this big mob farm? And this particular design, how it actually works is, of course, it works using observer blocks and tripwire. So say if I were a mob, I'll just fall right down here to my death. And that's literally as a mob spawns in, they just fall through each of these layers and they fall into the magma blocks and die. If the fall damage doesn't kill them. And though it seems like most of the mobs die from fall damage, it looks like. And of course, I've also added this minecart system, which admittedly I can probably simplify. Like there's no need for all these hoppers here. What I could do is I could just turn it into a dispenser or dropper-based system that would just shoot the items into a water stream, and then they go into this. And this would have been sort of cumulative from other times I've AFK'd here, but it's kind of gives you a little bit of the sense of how much gunpowder this farm can produce. But I do believe this farm is indeed a bit bottlenecked by the mob cap on Autcraft, and if I would have built this either on a server with better mob cap or on a single player world, this thing would like be a shower of mobs, like about now. Like they can be coming down way more quicker than they are right now. And how I would have actually drained the ocean, I believe I would have done this kind of a similar way that I did the iron farm. And I would have used the flying machine kind of contraption that Omango had done a video about, which is used to drain oceans. And so I would have built that, and that would have done like 95% of the work for me. And then I think the last probably 3 layers I had to clear out with sponges just because like the bottom was uneven. But and I just basically did that. Well, first I would have built all these walls, and I used terracotta because it doesn't stick to slime blocks, and also used furnaces where blocks shouldn't be able to be moved. And just since then, I just haven't really bothered to change this to anything that looked more attractive looking. And that down there is a slime chunk, and that was just kind of my efforts to like completely dig it all the way out, just to stop slimes from spawning in it. And there's also a lever here which sort of looks like lets you be able to toggle the farm on and off. And so basically it just retracts all the floors so that mobs can no longer spawn. And that basically kills the entire farm. And of course I've added this canopy over it so that it can be completely dark, but no matter what time of the day, and you can still kind of see inside of the inner workings of the farm. And I believe just doing farms kind of open like this actually gives better spawn rates than if I were to enclose this completely in blocks. And I've even heard that kind of just due to the way the mob spawning algorithm works in Minecraft, the mob farms that are built lower to the ground tend to have better spawn rates than mob farms that are built up in the sky. And I'm possibly considering building one of these farms on ACO if whenever my resources allow for it. And I think I was originally planning to extend the canopy to cover this entire area, but I never got to doing it. And I think even as it is, it still makes the entire farm dark enough. And it's really very much it for the farm, but thought I'd end off this video to just kind of showing you what one of my firework areas I built look like. So what we're looking at here is some of my long-term viewers might recognize this from a video that I made or that I posted, but I believe this was like I think this would have been like 4th of July fireworks that I made, and which is really not much to see on the surface, so we're gonna go underground and check out the redstone. And I pretty much designed it so that it works very much similarly to AF's fireworks show, like the display at spawn. But I kind of used a different kind of randomizer design that works by just having 2 droppers instead of like 2 droppers facing into one another rather than a dropper with a hopper on top. So in the more recent versions of Minecraft, in some of my testing I found this design no longer works, so I may have to replace all these with the dropper on hopper design. But if you guys want to see this in operation, you could check. I just kind of advise you check out with that video, because I'm a bit afraid to really turn this on right now, of course, for lag reasons, and of course I don't know if this still works. I don't want to necessarily break it more than what it currently is. And this is meant to be a hopper clock, but it's kind of made so it's a longer delay, and it's basically a whole bunch of it's basically like a scaled up hopper clock that's like a whole bunch of them chained together, and it's basically you just have these items that will just go around in a loop, but they can only go to one stage at a time, and then once they go all the way around, that will, like, I believe when you first turn this on, this clock over here will run, which just runs most of the fireworks. And then when that timer runs out, this redstone will turn on, and this timer would run the finale. And I even came up with a pretty cool little, like, sort of like a contraption that fires off a fountain of fireworks, and that's basically what I did for the finale. And if you want to see it, go check out the video. It was pretty awesome. And it's basically like all the fireworks would just shoot up from here, and then they would go into this water that is all flowing out from the center, and that basically like curves the trajectory of the fireworks. So it's like when they go out, they come out like in an arc, and then they all explode up in the sky like a literal fountain of fireworks. It was really cool. Then it did cause some lag as well. And there's another kind of fireworks display that I built that it never really was used, though. Probably this coming, well, this is meant for New Year's Eve. I guess you could tell by the big countdown display. And possibly around next time New Year's Eve hits, I might actually use this just to kind of give it a chance to fulfill what its intended purpose was. And basically kind of the same idea, although in this design I used the more traditional randomizers. And this was like a big, of course the timer on this one, like it's basically this is just kind of a slow redstone clock, and all this is like a series of pistons that forms basically like a counter with pistons. And when it gets to the end, it basically triggers this. I'm not entirely sure if this actually had a finale. I guess it just kind of turns off. And of course, when this turns off, when the counter reaches 0, and then in the new year it comes up on that top part. Basically, it's like the New Year's Eve countdown that you may have seen on ACO that I built. And I would have also made, I think, like an auto flower farm to actually get all the dye that I needed to actually craft the fireworks, but later on I just found it was easier to just buy like it all from the spawn shop. So, and of course now, especially with the hopper rules, farms are more difficult now. So, anyway, so I really had to show in this particular video. It's a bit shorter than what I usually would do, but hopefully you all still found this video kind of interesting or informative or whatever, and remember to drop a like, and drop me a subscribe on my channel, and stay tuned for my next content. And this is Dusty Circuit signing off. Bye.